Hey guys, thanks again for checking in with the Convicted Podcast today. We have a very exciting podcast because I actually just interviewed Second Death. We talked about some really important subjects that I really think that you're going to be able to apply to you being in a band and even outside of being in a band. That's why I'm so excited for this podcast because there's some stuff that we talk about together that can really help change mindsets to be able to move towards success and growing and accomplishing your goals, whether it's in music or in something else. So, without further ado, let's get to it. All right, guys, go ahead and tell me your names and your band name and kind of like your history. Tell us your story about Second Death.
I'm Giovanni Casanova. I'm the drummer. Go ahead.
My name is Josh Claxton, and I'm the vocalist, which is pointless. A pointless role in this band, but yeah.
Okay.
I'm actually the pointless member of the band because I'm the bassist, and my name is Clark Gargan.
No one's pointless.
I'm pretty fucking important.
Well, since you're the important member of the band, can you tell me a little bit more about this? Tell me the story about Second Death. How did you guys get started? How did you guys meet? How did you guys know, like, oh, we're going to do this band
Can
thing?
we do this? I'll do this.
I'll do some of it, and then you can take over.
Right.
Well, we were a band called Beware the Never Ending, but that's not what this is. We're now Second Death because we rebranded. But all three of us have basically been like, them two have been it longer than I have, but all three of us has been on it like for a very long time. So this is like honestly not the main members, but literally the people that the most trustworthy ones, because we've been in it like 6+ years, maybe 7. But if you want to take over from there, that's fine.
We all met in like really weird ways. It was all based on like shows. Like I was in a band and I met Clark at a college because he was running a festival. And then when me and him started playing music, we were on tour and we were buying cymbals for a fill-in, and he was selling me the cymbals at Jacksonville Guitar Center. And we just met him, and he harassed us for like 6 months for a tryout. And that's how we met. And then we met Randy, because he listened to Beware. I met him through our other guitar player that is no longer with us. And then, when I said that, it sounded like he died. But he's no longer working with us. And then we met Jeremy on tour in Maryland.
Really?
Yeah.
Can you tell me a little bit about that? Like, how did you like meet someone on tour and then like, oh, you want to be in the band with us? Like, how did that happen?
It was basically like we became really good friends with him. We were always talking to him. He would come out to our shows in Philadelphia and stuff like that, and he always hung out with us. And then he got choke slammed through a table. That was funny. Yeah, that was good. And then
We met him, and we also started touring with him because like our guitar player at the time, he was having kids, so you know you have to tend to that, you know, especially newborns, of course. So we needed a fill-in, so we just decided, since he liked our band a lot and he really, you know, enjoyed the music and knew how to play it, so he gave us, how you call it, videos of him actually playing it. So we were just like, let's just get him as a fill-in. So we got him as a fill-in for like 2 tours, I believe. And then at that time, like our guitar player said that he couldn't do it anymore, and that, you know, he was kind of done. So we were just like, fuck it. You know, he's already filled in twice. He already knows what he's doing. He enjoys the music that he's playing, which is kind of funny because it's like a lot of the people that we've been has joined this band have been fans of this band. You know what I mean? So I was
Right.
like, I feel like I was the first one. It could have been other ones like John or something, but like when I was harassing them to be in this band, I was literally just calling him just like, hey, let me try out. And they were like, yeah, absolutely. And then I got the spot and I was very excited. And then whenever it was like Jeremy and Randy, they were the same things. They were like fans of the band before they even were in it. And then now they're a part of it. So.
Gotcha. So
we didn't want to give him a tryout because we thought he was giving us his MySpace name.
Oh, me? Jesus.
MySpace?
Yeah, dude.
What's MySpace, man?
Because his name is Giovanni Casanova. We didn't think it was real.
That's funny.
This dude's cringy.
Goodness. So did you guys think that you would end up having different members when you started? Or like when you knew that a person was going to maybe step down, do something else or whatever, like that first time, what did you experience and like how did you handle that?
I think it's just part of it. I mean, there's always going to be growing pains. People are always going to everyone thinks that they want to do it, but when it comes down to it, no one really understands the impact that it's going to have on your life.
Yeah.
It's going to mess with relationships. It's going to affect you mentally, financially. It is a risk. And I think we just, especially us three, we've always been in it. We kind of realized it, and we prepared for it.
We stuck through it.
Yeah, not everybody else is fully prepared. So wherever somebody left, we were just like, all right.
Yeah, shrugged our shoulders, and we'll just be like, we're fine as a 4-piece. Mm-hmm. We're always like, we always have 4 people. Nobody's left us quick enough, I guess, to just put us as a 3-piece. But it's just like, I know, because then it's gonna happen. Well, like,
in Australia, right?
And then,
Australia's a dangerous place too. So
yeah.
Who knows?
Our players apparently are really good about getting people pregnant.
Yeah. But
wait,
it's okay.
Can you say that again? You said guitar players are what?
Really good at getting people pregnant.
Oh no.
But it's okay.
That is a fact.
Hey, you can take a baby on tour. You just gotta give them like the little earmuffs or whatever, you know.
But it's I don't know. So it's like it's worked out for us 3. But as far as like I don't know, we prepared for it. It's like we knew what was gonna happen. Like, dude, before I even joined the band, I was 22 years old before I joined the band, and I'm 30 now. So like, but. I had a car. I was living with friends, you know what I mean? I had the job and everything like that. But then joining this band and then not having a job that is too great, you know what I mean? So I had to sacrifice a car. So like it sucks. I'm 30 years old without a car. I know I can get a job and do all that stuff, but I'm living comfortably right now. So like I had to sacrifice a car, you know what I mean? I had to like, I can't go for like the newest fucking phone that's out there. I can't, you know, I go for cheap shit, and just like I just try to save my money, because all I'm doing is I'm working to feed myself, pay rent, pay all my bills, and then have enough money to go on tour.
So why did you choose that?
That's what I want to do.
Can you tell me a little bit more about that? Like
yeah.
Like why are you so passionate that you're willing to take those sacrifices for that?
A lot of people in their lives, I don't think, try to do what they want to do. They kind of give the hand that they're given and then just try to play from that. And it's just like, I've had friends tell me, oh, well, you know, a lot of people don't have that life. A lot of people just end up just working a job their whole life. And I was like, that's because you chose that. You know what I mean? Ultimately, like, you don't have to. So it's like when I told myself that I wanted to become a professional skateboarder, I was out there skating. You know what I mean? I didn't become the best, but then once I started playing drums, I was like, holy shit, like this is amazing. And then all of a sudden I kept playing drums, and then I was skateboarding. And then once I rolled my ankle from skateboarding and I had a show that weekend, I was like, this can't happen. I have to stop skateboarding because I'd much rather become a musician. You know what I mean? So you start
had to make
taking
that decision. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was like, I'm going to stop skateboarding and I'm just going to start playing drums. So it's like, I don't know. It's just you have to push yourself towards a goal, and not a lot of people are doing that because they're afraid, or just like they just like family members or something are holding them back. But it's just like you need to push through it, and you just need to do what ultimately makes you happy.
I definitely would agree with a lot of that for sure. Like it's a big risk, but like I think people make it a bigger thing in their head than what it really is sometimes.
Hmm.
It's like I don't know, like it depends on what you're willing to sacrifice to do what you want to do. Like because otherwise, like if you're not willing to take that sacrifice, then are you doing what you want to do? It's like then don't complain. Just pick one.
Hmm.
Like
That
if you're cool with where you are, go ahead.
no, that right there, what you just said. Here, Gio, mute yourself.
I can't.
Yeah, you can.
I sure can.
There's a mute button. That right there, what you said is perfect. So, can you hear me fine?
Yeah, perfect.
Okay. You made a choice. Don't complain about it because there's so many people, and there's no names. There's nothing. I don't ever talk about other people's business, but I see a lot of people when they're venting about being on tour. And it's like, oh man, you have no idea how much the music industry sucks, or God, like I hate when promoters do this, or yes, dude, that's water is wet. Clearly, if like in how much people post about when they're on tour and like what they're doing, it's going to be like that. Not a lot of people are able to be in those like bands that tour in B&A markets every day. You know what I mean? Where they're getting
Definitely.
all these fantastic writers and all this stuff like that. So when I see people like, oh man, like I hate staying at people's houses when they don't clean up, or like I hate doing this. Like, dude, they offered you a place to stay. If you don't want to stay there, guess what? Just go sleep in the van. Oh well, I hate sleeping
I've
in the
never
van.
heard that
You can
complaint.
go home.
I've never heard that complaint. Are you serious?
Check Twitter.
Oh
Dude.
no.
It's terrible.
It's like
What I get out
man,
of it, I'll sum it up. Certain people are just wimps.
Yeah, but like one of the main things is that I mean, and I love doing this. I love touring. I love playing music. I love doing a lot of this. But the main thing is I made a choice. Somebody that made that choice needs to live with the fact that they made that choice, or needs to deal with that, or else you need to truthfully get out. This is a uncomfortable lifestyle. If you are not prepared for that, you don't have to do it. Nobody is holding a gun to your head saying, don't provide for yourself. Don't get a job that suits you. I need you to tour. I need you to work at Pizza Hut or some other food service restaurant. I need you to Uber so you can tour, because that's what your life calling is. Your life calling is what you make it. And if you're going to complain about the what you have to go through to do it, then you're truthfully not about it. You have to accept what comes with that area. Whether your band is successful or not, it doesn't matter. You made the choice. Nobody should view you on any sort of different like pedestal, or not even a pedestal. It's like, oh, please pity me because I'm on tour and you're not. You don't know what it's like. Guess what, dude? In the real world where nobody else is paying attention to you, okay, where nobody else truthfully has to care whether you're not or you're a touring musician, that's not going to affect them at all. Okay, nobody, like, because I see so many people like, man, like it sucks. I've missed birthdays. I've missed this. I've missed this. Guess what, dude? People live without you. And like when people complain about being on tour and how much they've suffered from it, guess what? You left people's life. When you go out on tour, you truthfully do leave people. Like, and this sucks to say it, but it's like, and this is a negative and a positive, in some ways. But it's like, when I go on tour, I do leave my son. I leave my girlfriend. I leave them, and they have to live without me being there. Yet I'm not going to complain about that, because that is what I took. Now they can complain because guess what? I left them. And if that ends up, causing a friction or whatever, that is my fault because I chose to be in a touring band. That is not, oh man, the music industry is the reason why my relationship crumbled or why my job fired me or whatever. No, you decided to do that. Touring is a very integral part of growing a band, but at the same time, like he said, not everybody has to do it. And when a lot of people that want to do it, when push comes to shove, realize I can't. But it's okay. It's okay that you can't. You just have to accept the fact that you can't. And that's the big thing about it. So many people hang on to the fact that I have to tour. I have to do it because I think I'm supposed to do it. And then in reality, if you're on tour and you're miserable, truthfully, you shouldn't be doing it, because that's the one thing that I always view is that if you're on tour, you are bringing, or at least you try to bring a positive energy to the room. That's what a band should do. When I see a band on stage, no matter what the hell is going on, there needs to be like something uplifting. It doesn't matter, not about the message, doesn't matter about what they're saying, or anything, but there's got to be some type of positive atmosphere.
Just don't be a pussy.
But like,
I mean,
it's just,
a man of few words, but so powerful.
yeah.
Hey man, I'm just real about it. Like,
I don't know. I rant a lot about that because I see it all the time.
Totally
Like, people
understand.
complaining about touring,
Absolutely.
you know, and
Well, and also like the complaining doesn't help anybody. It doesn't help anybody.
No.
Like it doesn't make you
it puts
feel
it
better.
in a negative light.
Right. It doesn't make you feel better. It doesn't help the person listening to you feel better. It doesn't help build your brand as a band better. Nothing.
No.
There's nothing positive that comes from that.
It makes people view you as something that doesn't have value. Like, for example, if somebody's on tour, you know, and they're like, man, like this is rough or whatever. Okay, cool. But what benefits you by saying that? Like, dude, everybody that has ever toured has gotten shafted, has gotten a promoter no-show, has played those, you know, we're moshing for the bands tonight thing. Dude, that's a given when you're starting out, and that's a given even when you've been on the road for years. That's, dude, the human audience that you play to, especially the more niche down your genre of music that you play is, the less and less people truthfully come out to your shows. So, you know, at the end of the day, you play the music you play, and if you don't draw the heads, that's honestly on you, as well as the promoter, as well as that. And if you
Definitely.
can't bring a crowd, then, you know, you have to figure out, what am I doing or what do I need to do differently? And sometimes it's all about marketing the tour itself. Like, there's a lot in touring that has to do with marketing because you have to reach these people that you've never played to.
Right.
but you got it.
No, I'm done. I'm shutting up now. For a second.
You got it, Mona. You got
Someone,
it.
all right. Someone give that guy a mic.
Oh, no, just unmute your phone.
Him? No, I unmuted, so he can hear you now. You don't have to talk into it. He can hear you from a distance. He's
Just
got
lean
you.
in a little bit. You know, like you're gonna kiss him.
Oh,
There you go. Perfect.
It wouldn't be the first time.
I believe it. And when you're in a band and you're touring and you're in close quarters, you don't know what's going to happen next, you know. Some things will surprise you.
All right.
If he heard that two
That's a
tours
whole
ago,
story in itself right there.
Yeah,
Oh my
you
goodness.
we got Jeremy here to tell
you have
that
to you have to find intimacy one way or another.
Okay,
Alright.
so there's something that was mentioned a little bit about successful band. Like, how would you guys define what is a successful band? What does that mean? What does that look like? And what should people expect, especially starting out, trying to move towards whatever successful band is?
Well, okay. A lot of people think the whole goal is getting on a label. That's the goal. That's the goal for a lot of people, and that's very destructive for like the mindset or like the goals for a band. It should never be to get signed.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't make a difference, and a lot of times bands sign themselves to labels for a crap deal, and they're not benefiting from it. Like, we in our last band, you know, we had a good booking agent. We had a small label, blah blah blah, and we were getting paid good money, but we weren't playing anybody. So just because you get signed to a label, don't mean that kids are coming out.
Right.
And you have no idea how many times people will be like, hey, you're going on tour with this band, they're signed to this label. That's going to be huge for you. And you go on tour and that band brings nobody. And it's like, oh, I thought you guys were signed to a label, man. Like, let's go. Like, you guys are the
Yep.
top dogs. Like, I think
Oh, you've reached the next level.
success is defined as what your worth is. So if you can be comfortable, if you can make it work in your life where it's not, you know, destroying yourself or
Yeah.
destroying yourself financially or anything, I think it's a success. I think our band is maybe not huge or anything, but I would consider us successful
I would.
because we stay in the positive 80% of the time. So, and we all want to continue, and that's success. You want to keep doing it, that's a success.
Right.
And so like whenever we go out on tour, it's like
Oh, I'm getting an echo now.
You mute your mic. Yeah, mute your mic. So like when we go out on tour, it's we usually like we come back in the positive and we have enough to pay like members and everything like that. So me considered success would be us getting like a paycheck from the band whenever after a tour. So it's like even if it's like a missing check, the only thing is I just want to become more successful with it. You know what I mean?
Mm.
So it's like if I'm gonna stay at home and work and I'm getting like $300-400 paychecks, and then if I leave on tour for about 2 to 3 weeks, and then from that tour I'm getting paid about $200 to $300 instead of 3 to 4, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like that's still kind of successful because that's just a missing paycheck from when I wasn't working, you know what I mean? So
Yep.
that means I'm still handling my business. I can still pay my rent, pay all my bills and all that stuff. So it's like if I'm at least making that much money, but then it'd be better because, I don't feel like we're that big and I don't think we are, but like, but if we just get just a little bit bigger to where, we actually start pulling in a little bit of money, then at that point to where I can actually do this full time and then not have to worry about working, that's like the complete success that I want. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to come home and work a job. Nobody does. Like
Right.
I just want to be on tour all the time. You know what I mean? I am going to miss my girlfriend. I'm going to miss my family. I'm going to miss my friends. But dude, it's like the happiest I am is when I'm literally just on stage or just hanging out with the people. Like this last tour that we just did with Falsifier and the Machinist, dude, it was amazing. Those are like some of the best people I've ever fucking met.
I believe
We were almost in tears saying goodbye to these people.
I believe it.
It was like it was nice. So it's like success is just it's different for people, like you said, record labels and shit. But for us, it's just more like if you could just live comfortably and happily with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for Metal Blade, give us a call. All right.
Say it again.
Metal Blade, give us a call.
Nice.
Dude, success is defined by the person who's looking for it. That's pretty much it. Like, it's a band is pretty much like a small business. Small business success could be keeping the doors open and making sure that you have enough money to pay your bills. Other people's small businesses are to build it up and eventually sell it. That same thing goes for bands. What success is in the eye of the person looking for it, because one person's success is somebody else's like wall. There's a lot of things. Oh, hey, 2 more packages came. I'm Christmas shopping right now for my girlfriend and my son, and 2 more packages came. Anyways, but one of the things that some people look to, when Josh was saying like, oh, well, some people look to get on a label. What's funny is when you get on a label, that's when the real work starts actually beginning, because now you owe it to somebody else. Like you're not just a group of 5 people that if the band doesn't do well, that's just us being accountable for that stuff. When you get signed to a label, you're working for somebody else as well. Like they're putting their trust, they're putting their finances in you. They believe in you, and you have to prove your worth to them in a positive way. But it's like success, like every time you go up another rung in a ladder, there's always going to be more work to be done. So your level of success is just depending on how much do you want to work and who do you want to work for. So there's plenty of bands that are successful by just touring themselves, and they make enough money to like feed themselves or whatever, and they go home and they work jobs for 5 to 6 months out of the year, and then they go on tour once or twice. Like some people tour 100, 200, 300 days out of the year, and they don't have a job. It's just success is literally dependent on each individual's definition. There's no true way to be a successful band unless you're in that band and you want to see what you want to go wherever position you're at. Like there's plenty of people I know that don't want to tour full time. They'd rather tour once or twice out of the year and call it a day. And that's perfectly fine. And that's also successful.
And that's important to talk about too, because like if band members as a group, because you are a business together, right? Like everyone is in it together. So if some people have the goal of being on tour all the time and other people have the goal of part-time touring, like what do you think they should do to discuss that?
Well, we kind of had that situation.
Now I can't hear anybody. Uh-oh.
Touch me. Okay, so
Now I can hear you.
I think we kind of have had that situation multiple times, but like we get that. Like us three, especially sometimes maybe not Clark. Like once in a while he'll stay home from a tour, but as long as the core is there, fill-ins are fun. We've had a lot of success with fill-ins, and sometimes lives get in the way, and that's perfectly fine. We've had multiple times where guitar players can't go, so we just found a fill-in, and then we found a fill-in, and now he's in the band.
Definitely.
And I think that's kind of a loose thing. You kind of have to be. You always need the hardcore members, but fill-ins are a good opportunity to continue.
Definitely.
Keep touring, because you can't slow down for one person.
Mm-hmm.
Like, business is a train. You just got to keep chugging.
I can't.
Right. And you can't hold anything against anyone for having different levels of goals, and that's why it's good to talk about that stuff too. Yeah, we've had that before too, where someone, when we early off, we were with someone that was starting out with us for a long time, and then once it became more official for touring, they realized, like, don't think I want to commit to that as much. And so we talked about it. We got someone else trained up to be able to do it. No malice, no harm, no nothing. And it just transitioned real smoothly with that.
Yeah.
So, and so something that I find that's interesting is, like, interviewing so many bands now, member changes seem to happen frequently. So,
Yeah.
and that's okay. It's not like the end of the world if it's like, oh, it's not all the original members anymore. Oh, we lost a part of. I mean, there's definitely memories and everything, but you make something new with that next person too.
Yeah,
a lot of
definitely.
times they add something to who you are as second death or fourth teller or whatever. So what's something that you guys wish you knew earlier as a band?
When I hear that, I'm like, I think we're too dumb to just really have an answer for that, because we just gotta roll with it.
Just roll the punches.
Like,
Yeah, basically, don't expect.
Like, we don't have expectations.
Yeah, don't expect. There's been some dates, especially on our last tour, where we were just like, this is gonna be a shot show. Like, this show's gonna fucking suck. And all of a sudden, just like 30, 40 plus kids are there, and it's just like, stop like expecting the worst. Don't expect the greatest. You know what I mean? Just let it fucking happen.
One of the things that, like, I wish that I knew early on is that at the end of the day, the people that are in the band determine the fate of it. Like, what I mean by that is and this is truthfully like a giant PSA here, between our old band and this one, we've put our faith in other people that weren't part of our band, whether it was managers, record label executives, ARs, things of that nature. And it's like, oh, well, this guy's going to get us, this guy's going to get us here. This dude's going to do this. Don't ever add somebody else to your team unless the end goal for them is your band's success. We had many of people between both bands view us as just another person on their roster and just another check to collect. We spent thousands of dollars over the past 6-7 years since we've taken touring seriously and stuff like that on managers that promised us the world and gave us nothing. That's one of the things that I'd always advise is, if you're going to have a team, make sure the team actually cares about you. Because I see so many people jumping on with like, oh man, well, I'm going to go with this agency, or I'm going to go with this manager, or I'm going to go with this because that's what everybody else does. Yet you're just another number to add. You're just another commission form to pay. You're just another monthly statement, or you're just another 15% that they can collect. At the end of the day, if they don't care about your success, they're not worth your time. And as a younger band, I wish I knew that, because it causes you to lose faith in other people when it comes to the music industry and things of that nature. I know a lot of people now that are very beneficial for my band in the music industry, and I've known a lot of people before that were not. And I trusted a lot of those people, and we put our faith in them. And at the end of the day, we saw nothing for it. So one thing I wish I would knew as I was younger is approach each person that wants to kind of quote unquote help benefit your band with a much more view of skepticism. And I know it sounds negative to say that, but it's just the truth of the matter.
Honestly, it's like, I don't know if it's just me being like a pessimist or like a negative person, but like everyone views like management or like a booking agent as like an upgrade. Like, well, this is going to make things way better. And I'm just like, I don't believe this. I never believe. Because like, no one's going to care more about me or my band more than me.
Absolutely.
So if you're not in the game to help make the play, I mean, I'm gonna make it without you. Like, I don't care. Like, I'm going to keep going whether you help me or not.
Agreed.
Wimps, dude.
But yeah, I think that's really important to realize that like no one's going to care about it as much as you do, because I think along the lines of the complaining thing we were talking about, it's like, oh, why haven't they done this? Why haven't they done that? Because they don't care as much as you do. And I don't mean that in a negative way against them. That's not an attack on the person that's in management or the booking agent or whatever. They just are not going to care about your band as much as you do. And that's a difference that you just have to acknowledge. That just exists. It's not a negative on anybody. You know, now obviously certain people might not be doing as much of their job as they could to help you, and that you like that you have to be able to determine, are they doing at least their job or not, because that like you'll have to make that determination, but it's not going to be as passionate about your stuff as you are by any means.
It could be just another band that they're paying attention to, that they're putting all their time in, you know?
Yep.
That makes sense. I get it.
Or it might be timing as well, because maybe some band released some cover at the right time, and so they're really focused on that band because they're really gaining traction, which makes sense because they have to get them up and go, and that's them doing their job for them. And maybe you got in at the wrong time because of that. Like, I don't know, it's just all sorts of weird variables that can be involved in the mix of it.
That's a very good statement. One of the things that people realize is sometimes you could work the hardest and not get the best results or traction from it. And it's something that you have to accept. And at the end of the day, like you said before, this is something that you elected to do. There's no gun to your head forcing you to do it. So you could be working harder than other bands or whatever, or somebody's hustling more than you, but they might be getting less, or they might be getting more success. You can't view what other bands are doing and judge that about where you're at, because there's so many variables and acts of God, literally, that can change where a band goes.
Absolutely. So another question I have for you guys would be, what would you say Second Death is passionate about, and how do you guys brand that?
I know, I guess if I was to, if we're honest, if your band has a message, then I think lyrically, that's your best way to get it forward. So I guess what my concept of what I'm talking about is basically like, it's my own personal struggles in life and my addictions and my issues and depression and all that stuff. But twisted in a way where people can all realize that we're all going through the same shit. We're all struggling. We all have anxiety. We all go through depression. We all get trashed in life. That's just how it happens. Everyone has a struggle. But holding it in and not dealing with it and not expressing it by getting it out and talking about it and kind of building a community around being able to talk to people is kind of my, I guess, goal and my message is like, yeah, man, life is hard sometimes, but you know what? Life is hard for me too. Let's talk about it. Let's build off of each other. This works for me. That works for you. Maybe I can apply that to my life. But you know, it's all about connecting, and that's what, because all of us, as I'm sure you can tell, talk a lot, and I think that's one of our strong suits is we try to relate to people as much as possible and try to be a positive, even though our music sounds like I'm being a jerk. But it's really about like connecting with people and being a positive influence and helping people know that they're not alone in the struggle. We're all in the same fight. We just should be fighting together.
I agree with that.
That's
So
cheap.
question for you along along the lines of what you were saying about you got stuff in your life and I got stuff in my life. Let's talk about it. How do you talk about that without venturing into the complaining aspect that we've been talking about?
It's all about the ending. Everything is about the ending. Like to me. So if I'm like, yeah, man, like I'm broke, or sometimes I can't sleep because my anxiety is like literally frying me. It's like, but it's all about moving up. So it's like, if you dwell on it and you just accept it, then you're not doing anything. You're not like complaining would be like, oh, God, my life is so hard. It's so hard. It's so bad. Hey man, let me help you out. Let me talk to you. No, it's just hard.
Which, sadly enough, I see that a lot on Facebook.
Yeah.
Just like, I don't know. People just, I'll let you continue, but it's just like, it's so much complaining and it is like, you don't see any doing. And it's just like, I'm sitting there watching and I'm just like, I don't know how a lot of people even vent on Facebook. I'm just like, every time I have a problem or something like that, I don't tell anybody because I don't want everybody to know my business. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like everybody puts like baby mama drama. They put like the life drama on there and they do all this drama and they just post it on Facebook and put their stuff all is like, and I'm not saying that's the reason why, but it's just like, sometimes it's just like, I feel like it'll just escalate that problem. You know what I mean? Just like make
Definitely.
it worse. It's like, dude, if you just not post your problems and you try to deal with it, like if you literally just face it, then maybe you can fix it. But if you're sitting there complaining, posting every problem that you have on Facebook, then it's just like, it's just going to keep getting bigger.
Adding gasoline to the fire.
Right, put your head over it.
Oh my goodness.
All right. So,
It's time for close-ups.
all right. So all right. Let's put a scenario out there. If you got a flat tire and you're stuck on the side of the road in the interstate, are you going to post on Facebook and be like, oh, man, I got a flat tire. What do? I don't know what to do with my life. My life
Some
sucks.
people.
It's like, you're going to stick your ass on the side of the road forever. Like, get out the car, go get the spare, and put it on. Or call AAA or something. Like, get it figured out. Sit on the side of the road, go on it, be a whip, or always approach with the possibility or approach with the mindset that I'm gonna nail this. I'm gonna get through this. I'm gonna move on.
That's important. That mindset you just mentioned. That it's like you have to have the I can overcome this. I can take on this challenge, because otherwise if an obstacle just comes up and you're like, oh, I can't get around it, when really there's an opening just to the side. It's like, okay, that's the thing. Like when a person has a life goal that when they hit an obstacle that they just stop. It's like your goal was not big enough.
Hmm.
Oh,
No way. Like, so like,
Or they just didn't want it enough. Like,
oh, that too. I don't
and they
know.
just like, how can you ask to like want something? Like nothing's given to you, obviously. So it's
Right.
like I said, they've been working on this band thing for like more than 10 years. I've been doing this 7+ years, and it's just like I'm still doing it. You know, my goal back then was just like when I was like 18, 17 or something, I was just like, dude, I'm gonna have a wife and kids by 24. I'm gonna have a house. Like things are gonna be so sick. And I'm 30, living with friends, still doing the band thing. Like I feel like a child, but like it's what I want to do and it's what I'm like trying to go for. You know what I mean? I figured out that this is a lifestyle that people will try to go for. I mean,
Right.
someday soon, not soon, excuse me, someday later down the road, you know, it's going to want to end. Not soon, dude. I swear, I'm not a guitar player. But like,
Oh shit.
you know, I'm going to want to call it quits and just be like, you know what? But like, we're going to have to do something. You know, like, just move on with my life. Do something before it ends.
let me tell you, I'm going to let you on some insight. Some insight. All right. One, Avril Lavigne is dead. She's a clone. But two, one of the biggest cultural phenomenons happened a few years ago. That freaking song from Frozen, "Let It Go." Let it go, man. Whenever something comes at you, let it go. Like, who cares? Move on. Like, that's just the truth. Like,
So I see who influences your music writing.
like, I don't care, man.
Elsa, bro.
If this is my goal, and you're gonna try to like, if you're gonna try to make me quit this band, if you're gonna try to make me fail, you're dirt. Because I don't care. I'm just gonna run you over.
Well, what's so sad about that is like, why do people take the time to complain and beat someone else down? It's like, do you have nothing better with your life? That's all you got? That's all you got?
Pretty much, man.
Like, you're just going to waste someone's time? Like, they're consuming content to some extent of yours to be able to put you down. It's like, why? You do something else. Like, something more positive for yourself. Not even like, oh, don't be mean. It's just like, don't waste your own time, dude. Like, you're wasting your own time by like coming at me with that. Like, go do something else. But yeah, I mean, I want to say that I really appreciate you guys like sharing all this. This was some good stuff. I completely went off any guide that I had for the most part, which is perfect because that's what I really would rather do anyways. I really think that like it's important to talk about this stuff, like the no complaining. It's a choice, you know, having goals that are big enough to keep moving towards. That tour is uncomfortable. It's not built for everybody, and that's okay. You know, it's okay to like if you need to stay at your hometown to do shows, and that's what you're passionate about. That's okay too. If you want to go on tour every single day of the year somehow, by all means, move towards that. It's just going to take a lot more effort to do that. You know,
Live with mom and dad.
what'd you say?
Live
If you don't try to tour every day, you better live with mama.
Yeah, and that's okay too. Because I think a lot of people have like dissed that idea. It's like it could be a totally responsible thing because like if you're paying rent to them, whatever, you're a tenant.
I did.
You're
I
a
lived with
tenant.
my parents and paid rent. They were the best roommates I ever had.
Story, how many times have we ever like someone be like, yeah, like on tour, we're hanging out with a band, they're like, yeah, I live with my mom, and we're like, stay as long as you can.
Yeah, dude, it's like
Stay
good.
as long as you can.
That means I'm gonna get a nice shower that night.
That too. Absolutely. So yeah, no one should be knocking anyone for those
No.
like because the thing is that's the sacrifice that you're making purposefully. Like, oh, I'm not living on my own. I'm actually living with someone else, which I think is just a smart move anyways.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, because then you're not just imagine if you're just renting the whole time, then you're not putting in money to own something. You're literally just paying rent to somebody. Why not pay it to someone that you know as compared to some landlord that might have way more apartment complexes on the way.
But the key thing is you don't say I live with my parents. My parents live with me. And that changes the whole aspect of that.
That's true. I
Because
mean,
they live with the burden of you. You don't live with the burden of your band.
Oh my goodness. Well, guys, thank you again so much for joining me here with the Convicted podcast. And oh man, I was really happy with all the stuff that we talked about today.
Thank you.
It's awesome.
It was awesome. Thank you for
When's
this.
the next time you guys are coming to Tampa, Florida?
February 1st.
February 1st? Awesome. Well, if you guys ever need a place to stay and are you coming out to the Noise Box? Or is it somewhere else?
Yeah.
Awesome. So I'll definitely see you guys there. I'd love to hang out with you a little bit. And if you guys need a place to stay, you can feel free to stay at my place or
We're gonna
whatever.
put a song at the end of this. Make sure it's Let It Go.
Right?
Yes, do a cover. Do a cover. I might do that. All right, well, thank you guys, and I hope you guys have a great day.
All right, man. You too.
See you next
Take it easy,
time.
man.
Bye.
Thank you again so much for listening to the Convicted Podcast. That means the world to me. I really hope this has helped you. If it has helped you, please comment something that you want to add into what you're doing. Or if you have any questions, please feel free to comment or message us and let us know. Also, huge announcement, we are sponsored by Vratim. They're an awesome company. They make drum shoes and other apparel for musicians of all different types. Check them out. They have a special surprise for you if you follow the link that's in the description to go to their website and check out their stuff. Also, please give Second Death some love. You can even ask them questions if you want to send messages their way, whether it's on Facebook or Instagram, wherever it is. Also, if you would like to be able to get notified about further content from this, if you are on YouTube, ring the bell, subscribe, etc. If you can leave a comment or a review about the podcast that you're listening to, that helps us to be able to reach more people. We would really appreciate it if you could do that. But either way, thank you again so much for listening, and we'll see you next time.